What's up, y'all? Welcome to Williams Fitness Nutrition, and today we're going to talk about how to lose fat. How do I lose fat? So let's just talk about what is fat. Fat is a tissue that we have on the body that we must have in order for us to be healthy and live a thriving life. So not all fat on the body is bad. There are different types of fat. But also the fat that we have on our body is completely different from the fats that we eat. Subcutaneous fat is the fat that lies right up under the skin. The fat that we can feel, that we can see, that is the fat which we would also call that energy. So using that energy, let's say that we're not eating enough and our body needs something to help give it energy to be able to do things. So that stored fat, that subcutaneous fat, is stored fat that our body uses when it's in need of some type of energy to help our bodies do whatever it needs to be able to do. So, but there's also another type of fat. Visceral fat is the fat that's found in the abdominal area amongst other major organs. That visceral fat can be very dangerous depending on how much you have and where it's located and how much buildup you have of it. Again, fat is not necessarily bad. It's an amazing thing for the body. So we need fat in order for us to live and live a thriving life. So because we use fat as fuel just as much as we use a carbohydrate as fuel. Like we talked about last week, fat, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. It weighs a lot compared to carbs or protein, 4 versus 9 calories. That just lets you know, for the more fat that you have in your diet that you're eating, there's a lot more calories involved in 1 gram of fat that you have compared to a carb or a protein. So you want to pay attention to that, to where we're thinking that we're not putting a lot of oils, a lot of butters and stuff like that on our food, or saturated fat, polyunsaturated fats and stuff like that that's found in our foods naturally, in our meats. Those are fats that you can use, but you also need to be able to pay attention, be able to help put yourself in a good position and knowing that, hey, this is how much fat I'm being able to get from my diet, how much fat or where do I need to be in order for me to continue to lose fat and not gain fat. What is fat? Fat is an adipose tissue in which it serves as a number of important functions. So this adipose tissue, fat itself has a lot of functions for the body. That's why it's so important for you to be able to keep fat in your diet, but also have fat on your body as well. So the primary purpose is to store lipids. Lipids are fats from which the body creates energy. So we're using fat as energy. In addition, it secretes a number of important hormones and provides the body with some cushioning as well as insulation. So the more fat you have on your body, the less likely it will be for you to actually get cold. How does fat actually leave the body? How do we lose fat? So, and not talking about exercise or nutrition, how does it physically leave our body? But fat does not turn into muscle. So you have to lose fat and you have to build muscle. That right there is 2 different types of tissue that literally you cannot turn fat into muscle. How do we lose the fat that's on our body if fat doesn't turn into muscle? So this is how you lose fat. During fat metabolism or oxidation. In other words, what this is saying that fat leaves the body as a carbon dioxide. So the more you exhale, the more you're breathing out, the more fat you're able to release, fat oxidation. And keep losing fat and staying in a good place where you're not starving yourself trying to lose fat. The key is, this is how I want you to go towards that goal. This is the process in which I want you to take to get there. I want you to be able to eat more and move more. When you're eating more, you're moving more, you're not taking away the calories that you need in order for your body to burn that fat off. So with you moving more, remember I talked about exhaling more. That's going to help with the exercise that you're doing, or getting those 10,000 steps each day, if not more. That right there will help you continue to exhale and get that fat out. So I want you to be able to eat more, move more, versus eating less, moving less. There's people try to cut calories before they try anything else. But once you hit a plateau, and after you only eating 1,000 calories, nobody can survive off 1,000 calories. Especially, we won't be able to survive mentally off 1,000 calories because of the type of lifestyles that we have and the food and the access that we have to have a restaurant on every corner. Eat more, move more. That will be the key to your success, and not just moving less, eating less. Because if you eat less, move less, that means you're not getting in the physical aspect of it, nor are you getting in the nutritional value that you need by eating less. Because just because you're eating less doesn't mean that your body is thriving off eating less. I want you to be able to eat more, or eat a certain amount of calories and macros to fuel where you're trying to go, but also move a little bit more. So I would rather you, if your caloric deficit, in order for you to lose a good amount of fat each week, if your maintenance is 2,000 calories and you're eating 2,000 calories, but then so that caloric maintenance and your caloric need that you're having each day is 2,000 and 2,000, and then you're moving more throughout the day, so you're burning 300 calories, which is that middle, then that 2,000 that you ate and you burn 300 of it, you burn 300 more calories throughout that day. That means you are in a 300 calorie deficit. So you're eating 1,700 calories, which means you're going to be losing fat, especially if your macros are on point. So how do we know what macros that we need to be doing? What ratio? Finding out what's your body weight goal, and that's where your protein goes. Everything else, where it comes from your fats and your carbs, like we talked about last week, you can get those calories from anywhere, depending on whether you like more fat or more carbs. As long as you stand within that caloric deficit, you will lose weight, you will lose fat. So the gist of this, I move more, eat more, instead of eating less, moving less. Who are you? Most people that are normal weight usually underestimate their calorie intake by 20%. So you're missing out on a lot. If that normal weight, you eat 2,000 calories each day, you are underestimating how many calories you actually have ate, or that you actually need each and every day if you're not tracking your foods. If you're overweight, you tend to underestimate by 40 to 50%. So you think that you're eating 2,000 calories and you underestimate by 50%. That's 1,000 calories that you are underestimating. So I need you to be able to know what your macros are, how many calories you need each day. Not saying that you have to track your calories, but if there's something that you are going to track, I definitely want you to be able to track your protein, because your protein is so thermogenic and it's going to keep you full longer, which means you won't be able to eat as much. So then you already know that if you're doing that, maybe with some type of fasting method, you will not be eating more calories than you need in order for you to lose fat. Calories in versus calories out. This is something I hit on just a few minutes ago. But calories in versus calories out is just saying how many calories are you eating versus how many calories are you burning. Calories in versus calories out. If you're bringing in more calories than you're burning, you're going to gain weight. If you're burning more calories than you bring in, then you're going to lose weight. That's just the law of the science when it's coming with energy and calories, and the energy and the calories. If you want to lose weight, you have to be expending more calories than you are bringing in. That's the goal. Expend more calories, burn more calories than you eat. That doesn't mean that you need to be eating 1,000 calories every day. No, let's eat more, move more so we can burn more calories and have more calories to pull from when it's time for us to get out of a plateau if we hit that plateau. So losing fat, you have to be in a caloric deficit. In order to lose weight, lose fat, you have to be in a caloric deficit. All diets work. Just what is long term? What can you be able to do for the rest of your life? Yes, sometimes we have to go on a little short-term type diet. That's totally fine. But if you cut calories very hard and you don't have that guidance and you don't have the discipline to be able to start bringing in back calories little by little each week, then you will be hurting yourself in the long run, because sometimes you might bring in too many calories at one time and then you gaining fat too much. So you just want to be able to bring in having that guidance to help guide you. So a lot of you guys are doing some type of low carb or keto type diet. If you're doing anything within that realm of dieting, you need a coach to be able to help bring you back, help bring those carbs back in. Carbs are good for you. Fat is good for you. But what diet is best for you? And I need you to be able to determine that, depending on your specific goals and when is the timeline in which you need that fat off the body. So of course, the quicker that you need this goal to be hit will be how hard your cut will be with your calories. But the longer you have, the slower the process, the better the process it will be. The quicker you need that, the harder it will be. The harder it will be to stay disciplined, and the harder it will be for you to make it this a long-term commitment to keep losing fat, to stay in a healthy body composition. Are all calories created equal? No. All calories are not created equal. Whole foods versus processed foods. Whole foods are nutrient dense. The thermogenic effect that it has on the body, in which when I eat this, how many calories is it taking for it to burn, to digest, to break down, is what I mean by thermogenic. Versus processed foods, where it's so processed in which it's going to be hard for it to break down, or the body does not use all the nutrients or know how to use the type of nutrients that it have in it. So there's good nutrients, there's bad nutrients. Having whole foods versus processed foods, which one should you go for? Of course you want to go for the whole foods. But let's maybe go 90-10, because sometimes that 80-20, that 20% can really hurt people, and they are not knowing why they aren't progressing and moving forward and getting closer towards their goals, because that 20% is really affecting the way that where they are going and where they're trying to go and get to. So stick with the whole foods, stay around the grocery store, not within the aisles. Of course, there's some things that we will have that's within the aisles that's relatively healthy for you, especially like fiber type foods. But as ingredients that it has on the nutrition label, the better. So when you go within the aisles, you want to stick with that nutrition label that has few ingredients more than a lot of ingredients. Pay attention to your nutrition labels. And if you've been dieting, have you been low calorie? It might say, some of you might not know whether you've been dieting because you just haven't been eating enough. Then you will be in that range of low calorie. Losing fat is very simple, but harder than it's supposed to be. Why are we making it harder than what it's supposed to be? Because losing fat is simple. You have to be in a caloric deficit with the right amount of macros in your be able to help you lose fat. Being low calorie for so long can damage your metabolism and make it harder for you to lose fat. Why is that? Because with you being low calorie and dieting, if you're on a diet, which means that you are low calorie or you have been in some type of deficit, the metabolism will more than likely adapt to the type of nutrition that you're putting in your body along with your type of training. So if you're always in a low calorie state, you never eat at maintenance or in a caloric surplus, then there's 9 times out of 10 that your metabolism is out of whack and you need to get it back to a roaring machine. That's the goal. You want your metabolism to keep burning and keep moving. So a lot of people say, oh, I have a fast metabolism or I have slow metabolism. Yes, that is true. Or they say the older you get, the worse your metabolism is. That is not true. It's because the older you get, more than likely you have been dieting or you've been low calorie for so long, and you also aren't moving the way that you should or the way that you used to. So that's why I say move more, eat more. Because if you're moving more, you automatically building up that metabolism. And if you're eating more, you're guaranteed to build up that metabolism. So move more, eat more. That is the best thing instead of eat less, move less. 100 calorie deficit versus a 800 calorie deficit. So you can lose fat with both. You can lose weight with both. So it's just how hard are you willing to, or how quick are you willing to lose this fat or weight. That be depending on how big of a deficit that you want to be in. Of course, the 100 calorie deficit is more of that long-term weight loss type goal. And the 800 calorie deficit is more of that quick weight loss, fat loss. But you have to be smart with that type of big deficit because it's much harder and it's hard to stay disciplined and consistent with that type of diet. The bigger the deficit, the harder to cut. And you continue to lose fat if you do it the right way. But doing it the right way does not mean always eating less, moving less, or eating way less and moving too much. There's also that aspect of doing too much to get you to where you want to be, because the more you do doesn't always mean the better. So think about those things. You can eat at a caloric maintenance, exercise, get those steps in, and if you eating at a caloric maintenance of 2,000 calories, and then you're using those 2,000 calories as your base, so you're eating 2,000 calories, that's the fuel that you put in, your body naturally burns 1,000 calories, so that's 1,000 calorie deficit already. Well, you have burned because your body naturally, that's your BMR. All right. So your total daily energy expenditure, what is TDEE for short? Total daily energy expenditure estimates how many calories your body burns daily by accounting for the 3 major contributions and factors. So your basal metabolic rate, which we have talked about, which is your BMR, you'll be able to find that BMR on your in-body scan in the details. Also, your activity level, how many steps you're getting, how much movement you're getting throughout the day. So what type of work do you have? What type of exercising are you doing? Are you fidgety? Are you shaking all day? You know, a lot of people like to shake their leg. They might get anxious, anxiety, stuff like that. All those things, any type of movement will go towards that TDEE. Also, the thermic effect of food, metabolism. So how much protein are you eating? If protein is the most thermogenic, how much protein are you eating? You got your fat and you got your carbs. Your carbs been a little bit more, but your fat been a little bit less. So look at your in-body scan to find that BMR to see how many calories your body just naturally burns at rest. So the graph on the right is the thermic effect of food. So a measure of how much different foods increase energy expenditure due to the energy required to digest, absorb, and metabolize the nutrients within that food. The more nutrient dense it is, the more energy it's going to take to metabolize the food. The more heat is generated for calories that are burned within the process. 0 to 3%, but usually nothing is ever really 0. So we're going to go more towards the 3%. Carbs, 5 to 10. Protein, anywhere between 20 to 30%. Is that the thermic effect of food. So more protein you want, the more protein you get, the more calories you're going to be burning, but also the more muscle you'll be able to maintain, if not gain more muscle to help you lose more fat and to have that body composition change that we all are looking for. Protein has much higher TEF than fats and carbs. Whole foods have a higher TEF than processed foods, as mentioned before. So the conclusion of this, eat more protein, eat real food. All these fast food places you're going to, it's not real food. You need to go to the grocery store. You need to cook your own foods and make sure that you are salting your foods as well, because you need those electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And below, you will be able to, I sent y'all a link to the ProPhysique macro calculator. So what we do is, this is someone else's macro calculator that I like to use because it's much more accurate than the simple ones that you'll find online. So I'm typing in all my information. Age, 25, I'm 5'10", my weight, I am 203 as of this morning. So I'm more lean than overweight. So I'm going for the athlete's formula. How would you describe your normal daily activity? Sedentary, definitely not that. Light activity, teacher, salesman, no. Active, spend a good part of my time doing some physical activity. I'm coaching all day. I'm on my feet. I'm exercising, stuff like that. So I'm just going to put active because I don't want to overestimate saying that I'm very active, which I am, but I don't want to overestimate that. So how many days per week do you exercise? 5. How many minutes per day do you exercise? Well, that's cardio and weightlifting combined. I wouldn't necessarily count your daily steps as cardio, but do some type of cardio or bike 3 times a week. And I weightlift maybe 50 minutes. Let's just say an ISI workout, which is 50 minutes. So 50 minutes plus, let's say anywhere between, let's just say 30 minutes. That's 80 minutes of exercise. How intense is your exercise? Light? No, we definitely know that. Moderate, I'm breathing hard and challenge myself. Is it a little bit harder than that? Difficult, I always break a sweat and have an elevated heart rate, which I always do. Usually can't hold a conversation while I'm training at ISI because I'm pushing just that hard. Don't talk to me, don't look at me. I am here for a purpose and might die today. I try not to kill myself with my workouts. That's just not the smartest thing to do. So then you hit calculate, so it will calculate your calories. So my BMR is 1,914 calories per day, which that's what my InBody scan says, right about that 1,900 calorie mark. Your total daily energy expenditure is 3,155 calories. So that's how much I'm burning throughout the day. So just imagine if I was burning that much and only eating 1,000 calories. That does not work. Your body, your metabolism will be destroyed, and your body will actually hold on to more fat because you're not eating enough to allow it to be able to use that body fat that you have on you to use that as your energy source. Number 2, choose your goal and pick the intensity. I suggest everybody going with the 15%, but for myself, I can be a little bit more aggressive because I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'm not going reckless because that's just stupid. So for fat loss, it'll be eating right at 2,500 calories to maintain, 3,155 because that maintain calories is the same as my total daily energy expenditure. So literally, if I'm burning 3,000 calories and I'm eating 3,155 calories, those two are equal. I will stay at the same exact weight. Now, let's say I wanted to bulk and I wanted to gain a little weight. If my TDE is 3,155, that means in order for me to gain some weight at a good pace, then I will bump that up to right about 200 to 300 calories so I'm not gaining too much fat. Number 3, select your nutrition plan. They suggest a balanced diet. I totally agree with having that balanced diet. Why? Because that is the most safe and effective way, and you can manipulate your diet in any way that you want. So one day you can have more fat, one day you can have more carbs, but you always will hit that protein requirement. So So for me, my protein, anywhere between 1 gram per pound of body weight, which I suggest for myself and for you guys. So we're gonna go with the 1. Fat be anywhere between 0.35 to 0.40, but let's go with 0.35 just to be on the safe side. And then we're gonna hit calculate. So to bring this down here, so my carb, I'm having or should have about 268 grams of carbs, with protein being 203, which is my body weight, and fat being at 71.1. And remember that fiber, the fiber that you get from your fruits and your vegetables, that will be so important for you and your fat loss phase. So my calories would come up to 2524. And that then up under that, it breaks down to individual meal. And if you're looking to do, if you're only eating 2 meals, then of course those numbers will bump up. But of course that is a lot of food for a lot of you in only 2 meals. So you need to be eating. We really don't like drinking our calories unless it's some type of protein shake throughout the day or before bed. And as you can see that these numbers, every time I click on my fat, these numbers do change. But let's say 0.35 grams per body weight, but I wanted to have in a little bit more protein. I feel like I can eat a little bit more protein. So my protein will then be bumped up to 233 grams of protein, and my fat stayed the same. So if I'm eating 2 meals, that's 116.7 grams of protein. So I should be having at least 1 pound of meat with both of those meals. Because usually about 1 pound, 16 ounces is roughly about 100 grams of protein. So today, eat more protein, drink more water, get more sleep. But I would like to add eat more nutrient-dense foods, drink more water, and get more sleep. 7 to 9 hours each and every day. Take care of your bodies, love yourself. And if you guys have any more questions about nutrition, reach out to me, comment below, and I would love to be able to answer those questions for the next video. Thank you.